Let me guess. You get paid. You feel fine for about 3 days. And then suddenly, it's like your money just disappears. Not because you're reckless, not because you're buying yachts, but because something always comes up. A car repair, a vet bill, a medical copay, some random subscription you forgot even existed. And every time it happens, you feel that low-level panic like, okay, I guess I'll put this on the credit card and deal with it later. And the frustrating part? You might actually be doing everything else right. You're budgeting, you're working, you're trying to save. But it still feels like you're running in place. Here's the thing most people don't realize. The biggest financial upgrade most people ever get isn't a promotion. It's not a raise. It's not a side hustle. It's something way quieter. And once it happens, your entire financial life changes, even if your income never does. My name is Dude, and I spend way too much time thinking about how money actually affects behavior, stress, and decision-making. If you're someone who feels like you're constantly one expense away from everything falling apart, make sure to hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if this helps you out. Because today we're talking about the invisible raise you get after your first emergency fund, and why it's one of the most underrated financial milestones there is. Look, we talk a lot about income. How do I make more money? How much should I earn by 30? How do I double my salary? But here's the uncomfortable truth. According to the Federal Reserve, over 60% of adults cannot cover a $1,000 emergency without borrowing. Not $10,000, not a disaster. $1,000. And that single fact explains most financial stress people experience. Because when you don't have a buffer, every expense feels like a crisis. Your brain isn't thinking long-term anymore. It's thinking survival. And survival mode makes people do really dumb financial things. Here's what most people don't realize. An emergency fund isn't actually about emergencies. It's about removing fear from your financial decisions. Because when you don't have savings, you're forced into reaction mode. Something breaks. You panic. You borrow. You recover. And then something else breaks. That loop keeps people stuck for years. But the moment you build even a small emergency fund, that loop breaks. And that's where the invisible raise starts to show up. Now, you might be thinking, Nick, how is saving money a raise? I didn't earn anything. Fair question. It doesn't feel like more money. But let's walk through the math. Say you make $50,000 a year. After taxes, maybe you take home around $3,200 per month. Before an emergency fund, you might average $300 a month in surprise expenses. That goes straight onto a credit card. At a typical 20% interest rate, that $300 doesn't stay $300. It turns into interest, minimum payments, and stress. Now imagine you build a $3,000 emergency fund. Suddenly, those same expenses, they don't go on a card. They don't create interest. They don't spiral. That alone saves you hundreds of dollars per year. But the real raise? It comes from what happens next. This is where it gets really interesting. Once people have an emergency fund, their behavior changes, even if their income doesn't. They stop panicking about small expenses. They stop overusing credit cards. They stop avoiding their bank account. They start planning instead of reacting. Researchers call this financial slack. When your brain knows there's a buffer, it stops making fear-based decisions. And fear-based decisions are expensive. Imagine two people making the same income. Same rent, same bills, same lifestyle. One has no emergency fund. The other has $5,000 saved. Both need a $1,200 car repair. Person one puts it on a credit card and pays it off over a year. That $1,200 quietly turns into $1,400 or more. Person two pays cash. But here's the part nobody talks about. Person 1 is now stressed, more likely to avoid other maintenance, more likely to delay doctor visits, more likely to make short-term decisions. That stress compounds. Person 2, they move on with their life. Same income, wildly different outcomes. And yes, the first emergency fund is the hardest. You're saving while still getting hit with random expenses. You're building a roof while it's still raining. Behavioral finance research shows people feel losses about twice as strongly as gains. Saving $500 feels painful. Spending $500 feels normal. So your brain fights you the entire way. People love to say, $1,000 isn't enough. And sure, it's not enough forever. But it is enough to change your trajectory. It covers most car repairs, many medical deductibles, emergency travel, temporary income gaps. But more importantly, it proves something to your brain. It proves you can save. Once that belief changes, behavior follows. An emergency fund doesn't increase your income. It reduces financial friction. Less interest, less panic, fewer bad decisions, which means more money stays with you. That's why it feels like a raise. Not on paper, in real life. Money stress narrows your thinking. Studies show financial stress can reduce cognitive bandwidth by the equivalent of losing 13 IQ points. An emergency fund gives that bandwidth back. And better thinking leads to better decisions, which leads to more money over time. So here's what to do. Your first emergency fund is not 6 months of expenses. That's phase 2. Phase 1 is $1,000 to $2,000. Put it in a separate high-yield savings account. Automate even something small, and only use it for real emergencies. Unexpected, necessary, urgent. The moment you stop fearing small expenses, you start thinking bigger. You negotiate better. You plan longer term. You make smarter decisions. That's the invisible raise, not more money, more control. If this helped you understand money a little better, hit the thumbs up, subscribe, and let me know in the comments where you are on your emergency fund journey. I'll see you in the next one.